This is a Night of Horror Fantastic Planet 10th Anniversary Film Festival here at the lovely downtown Dendy Cinemas here at King Street, Newtown. And I'm here with Seve Schelenz, who is the director of the opening night film, Peelers. Seve, welcome to Australia.
I am so happy to be here.
And we're so much looking forward to your film, and we can't show everyone yet, but we'll do some cut-ins of some wonderful zombie strippers that are actually wandering around the place. Tell us a little bit, if you will, about Peelers. What is so appealing about it?
What's so appealing about Peelers? Well, Peelers, the basic idea of Peelers, it's a stripper horror film. Well, there we go. Please join us, yes.
Zombies
I love
everywhere.
Your eyes. Love your eyes. Well, Peelers is set in a closing night of a small-town strip club when some unwanted guests arrive and all hell breaks loose. What we wanted to do with Peelers was actually change up the whole stripper horror subgenre. Instead of having the women being victims in the film, we wanted the women to kick ass. And that's the big sort of twist of the film. I shouldn't call it a twist, but that's the big part of the film, that the chicks really kick ass in the film.
Because you actually co-wrote this with a woman, Lisa, yeah? And your DOP is a woman? And your lead's a woman, so props to you.
Yes,
huh?
3 women. I love surrounding myself with women. What are you doing here? Get a woman in here.
They're right there.
Well, I got one. I need
That's
another
right.
on the other side.
I'll go find you one in a second.
Yes.
There are plenty around.
Yes.
How do you think that impacted, though, the writing of the film, writing it with a woman?
Well, Lisa, she basically says whatever's on her mind. That's the thing about her writing. There's no political correctness with her writing, and that's why we work so well together. I came up with sort of the story concept. She ran with the script all the way. The whole concept of it, actually, the idea came from a trip that she took, actually, to Las Vegas, where she actually went to a strip club, and then a fight broke out. She was pulled underneath the table. There was a big fight with beer bottles flying and all this kind of stuff. And the next thing you know, she popped up, and there were no strippers. Obviously, they took them away because for safety reasons. Yeah. And she thought, where'd all the strippers go? Well, the next thought was, what if the strippers came back with baseball bats, baseballs, everything, right? And they just came back and kicked everybody's. They kicked everybody's ass, and that was kind of the starting point of the whole film.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Having such strong female protagonists in the film, we see a lot of Hollywood and mainstream films that are doing the same type of thing right now. But indie horror and indie films have been doing this for years and years. Do you think that Hollywood's finally starting to catch on to the fact that women have their own voice and have their own ability to be hard-ass starring roles?
Well, first of all, for us, it's really about the story, and it's not like we want us, it has to be about a woman, it has to be about a man. Basically, we're going to write the story, and whatever character we feel fits into it is what we're going to do. We're not going to follow whatever the mainstream's happening right now. We're going to do our own thing. So if we want to have a strong female protagonist, yes. If it's supposed to be a strong male protagonist, yes. We're not going to force one in over the other by any means. But having said that, I can't see why you can't have many films with whatever culture, whatever man, female, whatever color skin, doesn't really make a difference. It's whatever makes your film the strongest it can be. Whoever's best for the role, really, is what it comes down to.
Exactly right.
Well, it's been a decade since your first horror feature, Skew. I'm guessing you've got a bit more budget for this one. What sort of things changed from the making of Skew to Peelers?
Well, Skew was a found footage film, so the budget was much smaller on that, and a very, very small, tight crew was actually involved in that, and a small cast as well. 3 friends take a road trip and they don't come back. So that was, I wouldn't say it was simple to make, but it definitely kept everything very tight. And when we finished that one, it took a while to finish it because you're always calling in favors, no matter what level of the film, right? And that's why it took so long to finish. Once that was done, we went right on to the next script, which is Peelers. And once we wrote it, we realized this is going to be a huge budget. We did sort of the same thing. We just called in a lot of favors to try and make this thing work, and in the end, it did. When you make a film, independent film, it's a domino effect. Positive vibes brings positive people, and it just keeps going and going and going, and then next thing you know, you got a film made, so definitely.
Which is terrific, and we're very much looking to seeing the festival open with Peelers.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for opening the festival with Peelers tonight.
Yeah.
And we're very much looking forward to it. Seve, thank you so much.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. Ladies and gentlemen, we present Peelers.
finish this. Suck oil!
Did you all enjoy Peelers?
That's it? No question?
That's it. Okay, we're going home. No, I'm joking. We're all going to the after party shortly, and they have another session in here, and we started a little bit late. So unfortunately, we have to make this quick. Normally, I would ask Seve a bunch of questions and fling it to you, but I'm sure some of you have some questions. So I'm just going to ask a quick one, and then we'll see what the audience have to ask you. So tell me a little bit about the baby.
The baby. Okay. So the newborn baby, which we obviously needed for the film, we did not have a newborn baby yet when we went into production. We were about 2, 3, 4 days actually into production. We still didn't have a newborn baby. So we figured how the hell we're going to get one. So we put an ad on Craigslist. Independent horror film needs newborn baby. Somebody answered. Somebody answered within 12 hours, and this couple brought their baby to set, and they allowed us to strip the baby. I believe it was to put honey and yogurt on the baby, to sort of like the afterbirth thing. And so we had the baby for 2 days, and the couple loved it. They just were on set watching us the whole time, just having a great time. Now here's where it gets even weirder, because the baby is actually a boy, but it's supposed to be a girl, so that baby's going to have therapy later on in life. So that's the baby. Oh, and by the way, nobody, don't worry about it. The baby is doing fine after it was dropped from a motorbike. It's totally fine. No scratches, no bruises, it's fine.
Do we have any questions from the audience?
Yeah, I love the movie. Excellent, great job.
Thank you.
Your main actress, she's fantastic, Ren Walker.
Yes.
Talk about her like I've never seen her before in anything like. How'd you cast her?
So the question is, what about Ren Walker, the lead, and how did we cast her? Actually, we had a lot of actresses come out to read for all the strippers, and we just couldn't find our blue jean. As a matter of fact, we didn't have a blue jean, and then all of a sudden she showed up late in the process. Her boyfriend encouraged her to come out and read, and she thought, nah, I'm not going to get the part anyways. And she showed up, and she just blew us away with her acting skills. She's great, and she worked out like a fiend for that role. She was prepared all the time. It was incredible. The only problem was she could only eat certain types of food on set, because obviously, you know, she wanted to stay in shape, so we had to provide her with that food. There goes our budget. What's that?
Yogurt and afterbirth.
Exactly.
Another question? Let's do two more if there are two more out there. I think Ursula's gone. No, you had a question, Ursula, a minute ago, you said.
Oh, you can't ask what my budget was. You know that. That question doesn't count. Yeah, that's at the party.
Talk about the shooting location. Like, it was a really nice setup with the lighting and everything. Was it an actual strip club, or did you just build the set, or what was it?
Okay, so the question is, was it an actual strip club, or did we build the set? Yes, we actually sort of built the set. It was a bar. It used to be a sort of a country western bar, and it was closed down. And all that existed in there was a shorter version of that stage, and the bar where Tony sort of worked at. There was no kitchen, there was no VIP lounge, there was no office. Those are all false walls that were built. As a matter of fact, the industrial kitchen equipment, I mean, this is independent filmmaking. I don't have any connections to get that kind of stuff. And I just cold called, and I showed up to the store that rents it out and sells it. And I was in there making a deal with this guy, and he's going to charge me a lot of money. And as I'm standing there doing my negotiating, this other guy comes in, I recognize him, and I play baseball, and he's in my baseball league. And I'm like, what are you doing here? And he's like, well, I rent and sell industrial kitchen equipment. I'm like, oh, okay. And then he left, and then I left, and I called him 5 minutes later from the car, and he's like, I knew you were going to call. And I said, he's like, what are you looking for? And I named it all, the island tables, the stove, everything. And he's like, yeah, you can have it all for free. Yeah, I mean, that's just, if you have positive vibes, as a filmmaker, yeah, it works out.
I'm sorry, we're going to have to just do one more. Yep.
Can you talk a bit more about shooting in there and getting all the blood and guts and all the actors, and how long did you shoot? that sort of stuff.
So you want to know about everything. Well, there's the first frame. So what? Oh, Jesus. Getting everything in there. I guess first let's just start. I'll try to make this as quick as possible. Start with the script written by Lisa DeVita. Yes, a woman wrote a stripper horror film, and she's awesome. She doesn't give a shit about the rules or anything. She just does what she wants. She wrote a lot more kills and a lot more blood, and actually a lot more boobs. Yeah, it's funny enough, there was no sort of love, there was no romantic thing in there, and I actually had to write that in for her and remove some of the boobs because there were too many. Isn't that weird? She was more of the guy than I, and I was more of the girl in the process. So we tried to do everything practical, obviously. I think there's a lot of filmmakers here, actually, and we always want to do practical effects, but you don't have the budget or the time for that kind of thing, so you try and mix the two, some visual effects, some practical. I look at this film, I've seen it 100 times now, and I see where all the duct tape is to put the film together, and I have lots of problems with it, but hopefully you guys didn't see those problems. So that's a loaded question, Steve. We'll have to talk about that at the bar, I think.
And you can come and pick his brain and pick his everything else for the rest of the night at the Bank Hotel. So please come and hang out. We like to be a social festival. There's food and stuff there. Come and meet us there. Thank you all very much. And another big hand for Seve.
One last thing I want to say. Independent film festivals like this need your support. Just tell your friends, get everybody to come out here. We got to keep this going. It's not just for you guys, it's for the filmmakers as well. So thank you for having my film here. Thank you for coming out. And please, please go to all that social media shit, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, make notes, whatever the hell you do for us. And go to IMDb and give it a good rating. Unless you didn't like the film, then just don't fucking rate it at all. Okay? Thank you.